So, welcome back, friends, on day two of this session. I think it's very important, friends, that whenever you are into a milestone, it is very important in the project to have a look at where are we with respect to overall thing. What do you say?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, correct. Agreed.
Correct. That's how we
Yes.
should be actually doing. So, in an attempt to that, that's what I'm doing. This was our 5th of January. We learned about PMP course, exam process, and all that thing. Very, information type of thing. So, there's nothing called as learning there. It is more of a information. But second, half of the thing was where we learned the project definition. What does project deliver? Three of those things. I'm getting a
It
message.
was a product, service,
Ah,
or result.
that's what Smriti says. Uday, आपको याद है?
I went through recording today only, sir. So.
Yes, that's good. So your memory is very fresh there. Hi, Uday, Sunil.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Product, service, or result. A project will either create a product or service or a result or combination of all that. So it could actually do anything, multiple out of these things there. Is what the definition of project we have seen. What does program deliver on the other hand?
Under portfolio, including projects
Correct.
and
Under
program
the
deliverables.
portfolio, you have program. Under the program, you have projects. So, Uday, as we said, the projects deliver product, service, or result, as Smriti was saying. On the other hand, projects deliver something different. What's that? Yes, it's called as benefits. Correct. So
Benefit.
let's go through that very quickly. This is all about the information, so I will not, run through those slides, but rather I will start with the main thing here. This was our project definition. Oh, sorry. I didn't. So this was exam pattern and whatnot. So this is where was the project is temporary while operations are repetitive. Both of them deliver product, service, or result. However, there are more entities here and they are called as the portfolio, the top entity. Below them, there are multiple programs and multiple programs we have projects below them. Projects deliver product, service, or result. Multiple product, service, or results, when they are combined, program starts getting the benefit. Correct, friends? Yes. Hi. What happened? A lot of
Yeah,
silence.
that's right.
Yeah. Correct, Sandeep.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So basically, what does it mean is that if you are going to, roll, implement, a integrated whole of the system into a corporate. That corporate, you want to implement, let's say, some new CRM system or some new ERP system. Now, if you are actually doing it, or you are thinking of doing something like that, what happens there? Okay, it is showing me something. Okay, huh. Now, so what I was trying to say is that different project managers, someone will go ahead and implement the data center, someone will go ahead and implement the servers, someone might go ahead and manage the whole network implementation, someone might go and configure the software, someone might work on data cleansing, making the data ready from the old system to be migrated into the new one. So many projects are there. Each one of them will deliver a service, result, or product. However, However, even if all those projects are successful, they have delivered, when I say successful, always remember this definition. You are now going to learn project management. So three constraints. What are those? Anyone knows that? Yes, three constraints. We are going to learn this anyway, but I thought that you would have read it somewhere. Schedule and cost. Correct, friends? Yes, Mukul, Prasad?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So good. Pratik? Pratik, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
now, when you are saying successful, Pratik, the minimum definition which your boss as well as your stakeholders will always expect is that project is delivering all the scope whichever they expect. It is done on time. and it is well within the budget. If these three things are bare minimum, I would not say this is all. These are the minimum things. If they don't happen, then Pratik is not a good project manager. Is that correct, Pratik?
Yes, sir.
So minimum success definition आपको ये करना पड़ेगा, correct? So if I take 10th of April, so what's the scope?
Clear the exam.
Now that's the end objective, but for that the scope will be, clearing all that thing with the thing. Schedule is it must happen on 10th of April. It should not delay beyond that. And obviously the total cost. You cannot spend indefinite cost here. These type of projects do have a fixed known cost in the beginning only. But, cost could be translated in terms of, how many leaves you are required to take on and all that thing. So put together, if that happens, it's a thing. But remember, that is still a service result or product. It is not an benefit. Pratik is doing this service result or product called as cracking the PMP exam and getting that certificate is for some benefit. Are you getting this, friends?
Yes, sir.
Now, someone who manages is a program manager. For example, all these network guys, these IT guys, the data guys, the data center guys, all those people will go ahead and deliver something. When they are completely integrated and done something like that, then program will say that, now I am saving whatever, $50,000 per year. Now that saving will be the benefit there. For that, these projects were taken. Now, multiple such program will actually be clubbed under the portfolio. So those three things we have seen, just the repetition, 6 parameters which we need to balance, to achieve the required thing. Otherwise, if anything out of these 6 actually gets slipped, your project could come into the risk. So basically, all these 6 will have to be, and these 6 will keep on pulling each other in different direction. Sometimes scope will be extremely demanding, and you'll have to go ahead and adjust it along with the cost. Probably sometimes cost could be a very big constraint, and you will have to adjust to it something else. You'll have to keep on doing these adjustments. If you want to see the visualization, I would say that in the gymnastic and all that thing, you would have seen those artists who actually take the 6 balls and they toss all that into the air, but none of the balls should drop down. Doing so is project management. Balancing these 6 parameters in such a way that none of them drops is is one of the definition of project management. Not necessarily it's the best definition. It is one of the definition which PMI has actually coined there. Then these are the reasons for which projects are created. Sometimes it is because of the market demand, sometimes strategic opportunity or the business need. Then comes social need. Sometimes the projects are rolled out of the social need. There are for example all the social organizations, NGOs and all that thing. They take the project just because of the social need. Remember, friends, it does not mean that NGOs don't care for the profit. Their profits are not in terms of tangible thing. They are quite often intangible, but still there is a reason. Environmental, some of the projects like implementing some, river cleaning project is an environmental consideration is there. Some of the automobile industries are working hard to reduce the emission norms, so that, it doesn't emit so much of a carbon monoxide. Now, the projects which are actually doing that research into the automobile is called as environmental consideration. Sometimes it's straight, customer required. They have said, we want to do this. You are master, please do so. Technological advances, after 4G, the telecom companies ran into 5G. Who is here? Who is from telecom domain? I don't, because one of you was in the telecom thing. Who was this? Hello? I don't recollect who was there. Someone from Mumbai, I think, was. Pratik, was that you? Not sure, but anyway, is my voice loud and clear so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's
and you
good
are from
now.
Yes, sir.
telecom
Yes, sir.
domain, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, we are able to hear.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. It's
thank-
perfect.
So Pratik, in this industry, 4G to 5G. What is that? That whole thing is not coming from the customer. It is because the technology is now advancing, and you need to be, in line with the latest thing there. And that's where those are the reasons there. And this was the slide where we actually, stopped there. We are seeing productive and adaptive and so on and so forth. So that's where we are going to start. It was more like a recap what we have done so far. Any question before I start explaining this whole thing again? And I'm going to, use another slide pack to explain you this concept. So I will be switching it to them very soon. But it's a good time for you to check if you have any questions on this topic. Nevertheless, you can ask them anytime. But right now, while I am just trying to put up the slides in place and all that, it's a good time to review if you have any question. No questions? Okay, good. So coming back to this, I was saying, 2nd of January 2021, this is, 4 years back almost. That's the way, they went ahead and they said that we are going to cover Agile as well. What happened, friends, was PMP as a certification or PMBOK as a standard was more aligned, more suitable for the waterfall type thing, which means you need to make a long-term plan, you need to make the project plan, understand it, and then track the plan so that you reach the destination as planned. That's the typical methodology for which PMP and PMBOK was more suitable. It is called as a waterfall, So the people who did, engineering into the software type of thing, they would be knowing this word called as a waterfall. Everyone knows this word waterfall.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Sandeep says so. What about others?
Yeah, it's a conventional way of managing the project.
Conventional way of doing things.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Yes, Uday. Okay. Prasad is not speaking. Prasad, Mayuri is also little silent there. Mayuri, am I audible?
Yes, yes, Sandeep.
Yeah. Okay. So you know this waterfall method
Yes,
and typically called as SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle. Correct?
right.
Right.
Okay. So what happened that, earlier days, PMI or the PMBOK was getting, a lot of critics where you were saying that, your methodology is brilliant for, the waterfall long-term 6-month plan type of projects. However, these days we don't do it. In industry, we are doing all the software development and all that thing in a much different way. And so, your book looks to be less relevant. And that's where, they actually went ahead and introduced some part there. They introduced one more additional book there. If you would have downloaded the book there, and if that is open at your end, that PDF, if you go to page 797, 797, is it open at someone's end?
Sir, I have one question. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, Rahul.
Okay, waterfall something which is known to you,
Uh,
known to me. But you mentioned one term, this SDLC. Okay, this
Correct.
is something new to me. So
Okay.
I'm
I
just
will
asking.
explain it to you. Never mind.
Yeah, but
We are
from
going to.
exam perspective, I have one question. Like SDLC you mentioned. So do they even ask the question like, please, what is the long form of SDLC? That's
Never.
also expected.
No, no, no.
No.
Terminology related, there is not a single question, Rahul.
Fine, sir. Thanks.
They
Thanks.
will not ask saying that, for this process, what are the tools and technique? What is the long form of this? Or after this, which is the process? They will convert everything, Rahul, into something called as a scenario.
Okay. Okay.
And then they will say that, what are you doing? Now, do you need to know the long forms of things like SDLC? Yes, you need to, but questions are not going to be there. So, Rahul, in my opinion, if I were to go ahead and coin this into the, into the wording there, Rahul, I would say that memorizing the book is not important. Understanding the book is most important.
Fine. Fine.
Are you getting this point? Difference between these two?
Yeah. Yeah. Very much.
So that's all.
Thank you, sir.
So they are saying 50% question we will ask onto, this something called as an agile methodology. You will understand that, even if you are not understood. Anyone here who is completely new to agile methodology or he has not worked?
Yes, I am completely new for the agile waterfall. This
Okay,
one.
good. So In the next slide, I will, try to explain that, Prasad, to you. Never mind. Pratik, what about you? I think you are part of the IT department in the telecom
Yes,
company.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You would be
I
using
know the.
Agile. You would be
Yes,
using
sir.
Agile, no?
Yes, sir.
That's not new for you.
I
But
know the concept.
so Prasad,
Yes, sir.
so you need to be little attentive and understand this. Never mind, even if you don't know that. That's my responsibility to explain it to you. I will keep on checking, saying that have you understood? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And I need to do that thing for my new friend called as Smriti. Smriti,
Yes, sir.
क्योंकि 7:30 बजे है वहां पे तो अभी, so it's not so much of a
So
problem.
now it's 8.
Little later, I will keep on asking Smriti, how are you? So,
Yes, yes, sir.
because it
I'm
will be a
attentive.
late evening there. Smriti joining from US, and it is little odd time for her to join, so we'll have to keep on checking, at Smriti. Had this been a classroom, I would have checked with her. But how are you now? So anyway, I will do it. Never mind. Okay. So coming back to that, this is what, see, typically, friends, like the project management documentation, PMI was the master. There was something called as the Scrum Alliance. There was something called as a Scrum Alliance. These people were documented everything related to Agile and all that thing. There were some bodies which were actually documenting those methodologies there. What PMI did, rather than just going ahead and reinventing the whole wheel there, they did the tie up with them and put together. They came up with the third part of your book, which is Agile Practice Guide. Is Pimbok open at your end? The copy which I have given it to you. Anyone here? Anyone in the classroom? If it is not, please open it now, because it's good to keep an eye onto the book while I am showing everything on the slide. Yes, Amruta, you downloaded, I think, that book. Mukul, Sandeep is the, except for Rahul. Rahul may not have it, but all others should have that book.
Yeah, I have downloaded that and I'm just checking.
That PM Box 6th edition you are talking about, right? The PM
6th
Box.
edition wala, correct, wo wala, correct.
Yeah, it's open now.
And just, if it is PDF, go to 797, Sandeep.
Right away.
Yeah, page 797. And what's the matter shown on that book, that page? Sandeep?
The Agile Practice Guide.
Correct. So did you notice it is called as Agile Practice Guide? So Sandeep, this particular part is jointly developed by the PMI and the Agile Alliance, Scrum Alliance. Those people, correct? Yes. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. So that's how they have done it. We'll be going through that. Yes, Rahul.
Sir, this Scrum Alliance now, is it a part of PMI only, or still
No.
do they
They
have?
are still a different thing. PMI still thinks themselves to be master in this waterfall methodologies, and they are saying that because so many industries are now switching to the Agile, I can't keep myself away from that. So they are saying that it's a good to do a partnership rather than trying to redevelop everything.
Fine.
Yeah, so that's how they have done it. Now, Agile Practice Guide, they said that, the latest word is called as the VUCA word. VUCA is, anyone knows that? The long form of it? Volatile, uncertain. Wait, what happened? Yeah, uncertain. Yeah, kya ho raha hai? Then complex and ambiguous. Pratik. Pratik.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Pratik, because you are from that industry and we are from that industry, which is a telecom, I'm sure you would recollect that there was a fixed wire telephones earlier, correct? Yes,
Yes,
before,
sir.
yeah, before 1995 and all that thing, there were only the landlines, which were common thing, all across the world there. In fact, it was, in terms of mobiles and all that thing, they came pretty quickly. When they came into the world, after a few days, it came to India as well. Now, what has happened, friends, is that if you look at it there, that particular thing was a reasonably stable thing. For ages together, we were doing wired lines. So there were not many changes happening there. However, the moment actually it came into the mobile type of thing, the whole telecom industry became more volatile. It started becoming, there was always a turmoil there. And it is by the time you implement something, something new will come. They used to, say that was something called as a SMS. Now, SMS itself was an invention those days, but then it didn't remain there. The whole thing actually started changing so quickly. A very volatile world. Similarly, uncertain. The world is extremely uncertain, which is the changes are coming up, very quickly there. Similarly, it's a complex world. It's not the same world which was there. It was very simple and ambiguous. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. This is not only about the telecom industry, friend. This is applicable to everything. Just try to put and try to remember your own education, the way in which you got educated in the school, and your kids are going through the school. You realize that even in the education, there is a volatility, there is uncertainty, there is a complexity and ambiguity. Do you agree to this?
Yes.
Yes. So, Sandeep, what happened because of this particular complexity there, whole of the software development, like making a plan for doing something and making a plan for 6 months and implement there, is no more acceptable there. People are saying that, you need to be doing it very quickly, you need to deliver. A project cannot be 6 months long. And that's where, they came up with this methodology called as agile practices. Multiple practices are there. We'll see, the names of those practices and go through Scrum in pretty detail there. Okay. Customer experience is the key because that's what matters there. And agile practice guide is developed by these people, and that's what they are saying. Your page in the 797 is actually speaking about agile practice guide. Now these are the project life cycles, but before that, let me show you one diagram. अच्छा वो निकाल दिया क्या मैंने? Oh, okay. I think I have it in the other thing here. Yeah, project life cycles. Okay. Now listen to this story very carefully. Lavanya, are you there with me?
Yes, I'm here.
Sandeep, Smriti, Sumit,
Yes,
Yes, sir,
yes,
we are
sir.
here. Yeah, please
good.
go on.
Are you all ready to listen to this interesting story? Mayuri is silent for a while. I hope she's comfortable. And yes, Uday.
Just would like to understand, like, is both Scrum and Agile comes into same picture?
We'll see that. Ajay, because that there is a very nice slide, Uday, which is saying Agile is a bigger umbrella and Scrum is one of the method to reach the Agile. So, there is one diagram which actually explains that very well. So, thoda Parker, we'll get that.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Now, coming
Hello,
back to this, friends.
Sanjay.
Yes. Ah,
Sorry to interrupt you.
yes.
Actually, but somewhere we have actually waterfall methodology is good. Why? Because there is some deadline and there is some fixed cost.
Hmm.
We have to not beyond of that area. Okay, but the
Correct.
if we focus on that agile methodology, that time we cannot focus on particular part.
Correct.
Actually, see that time we miss as a project manager. It is very much confusing part for him to manage this thing without limited
Correct.
resource.
Correct. Exactly. So, Ajay, this is brilliant observation there. If you ask me, frankly speaking, Ajay, in the whole of the world, can you switch to complete agile? The answer is no, you cannot.
No, yes, exactly.
Waterfall is going to remain there. It has its own importance there.
Yes.
So while these are good things to say about the agile, but we are no point on time saying that the waterfall is no more applicable there. Secondly, type of the industry and all that thing decides how much agile will you become. Is it that you will be having 90% productive and 10% agile, or it is that it will be 90% agile and 10%? Wo combination, and that's what they use a word called as hybrid methodology. Correct?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so Ajay, that's what
Actually,
they see.
see,
So
why I'm
hmm,
asking this question because I'm facing this thing because
this
my
is
end user is asking me for timeline. He is giving me actually customer is in agile mode, but the
exactly.
practically project manager is not in agile mode.
Correct. So, Ajay, in fact, it is you who are so vocal about it, saying that I am facing this dilemma, ki boss, I mean, whether to go ahead and fulfill to the compliance called as an agile or otherwise, that waterfall. Because on the other hand, there are people who are pulling me onto the cost. ये question
Yes,
तूने पूछा
exactly.
है, other people didn't ask. That's the only difference, Ajay. I can tell you everyone has the same problem. Correct?
Yes, yes.
So we'll see that. Don't worry. We are going to answer those things there. Now here is the story starts. I don't know how many of you last time I don't still recollect whether when did I started my career. It was in 1984 when I started my career as a mechanical engineer. It was 1990. I think few of you are not born then. Is when I moved into IT. Now IT those days was different, friends. It was not a separate company. We were part of the same company which was consuming our services. For example, we used to write the software, financial accounting software, some small modules, and give it to finance guys. We were writing some materials management or the inventory thing, and the purchase guys and the stores guys were using it. Basically, the customer was employed by the same company where we people as a service provider were doing it. That was 1990. So in 1990 when I used to do that, and even I switched there, one of my friend who also did engineering along with me, and he was a civil engineer. He was a civil engineer, and while I came into mechanical and then eventually landed into IT. So some part of this story is more to drive the point, not necessarily it is always true. Particularly civil engineer wala part thoda sa imagination hai, so don't try to find all the real facts and all that thing there. Now coming back to this, I was actually when we were having a cup of coffee in the evening after the busy day, I told him saying that I do the SDLC. Someone was asking SDLC word. What this?
Yeah, I was asking.
So Rahul, SDLC. When I said this thing to him saying that कि यार हम लोग SDLC करते हैं, तो राहुल तेरे जैसे ही he came back and he said that कि boss ये करता क्या है तू, and what is this whole thing called as SDLC? I said that SDLC means waterfall. He said, I mean, why don't you talk practical things? And that what does it mean necessarily? So I explained it to him. Listen to this carefully and tell me if I am describing the waterfall or SDLC properly. I said that what do? We capture all the requirement for whole of the thing. Whatever you want to do in next 6 months, 8 months, I go ahead and talk to all the stakeholders, understand what do they want, multiple different stakeholders, their contradicting requirements. I go ahead and compile it together. And if there is a small mistake there, my whole design and everything is going to be under the trouble. Remember those days, the languages like COBOL were being used. There was nothing called as an RDBMS. Relational database was not there. If you want to actually go ahead and change any structure of the file, you were required to do a lot of complications there. So we used to be very careful, saying that capture everything now. If you miss it to tell me now, then keep quiet for 8 months. After 8 months, I will come back to you, and that time we will modify. But I can't do that every now and then. So requirement getting signed off. Once the requirement is signed off, I will go ahead and do the design. Design also in two phases: a high level design, saying which are the modules, which are the databases, tables, and all that thing. And then, the low level design, what is the code and all that thing, what each of the code do. Once the design is also approved, that milestone is reached, we will go ahead and do the development, which means we'll go ahead and write the whole piece of code. Then at the end of it, once the whole code is ready, I will show it to the people who are doing testing. They used to do all the testing. If there are any issues there, we need to fix it before we go live. And on a fine day, I will show it to the users, called as users acceptance testing. I will give it to people for doing something called as user acceptance testing. They will go ahead and see the software, not apart from my testers. And once they approve, we'll go ahead and, on that particular interesting day, which was probably 31st of August, if my project starts on 1st of January of, let's say, 1991. It was, sorry, what happened? 1991. My project will go live on 31st of August, 1991. That was my whole thing. So a big ceremony saying that, we are going live, we have completed this and all that. That was what we were doing there. And that I call it as SDLC or waterfall. Is that description fair enough, friends?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Looks familiar, correct? Now,
Yes, sir.
coming back to this, when I said this civil engineer actually came back to me and he said that, yaar, the day from which you have gone into this IT industry, you have only understood how to make new big jargons. you are unnecessarily now calling it as a waterfall and SDLC. I don't know what do you all mean, but ये चीज मैं बोलता हूँ what I do. The civil engineer told me a story. He said that when we want to build a new township, we go ahead and acquire the whole of the land, whatever possible, whatever. 15 acre of land parcel. We'll go ahead and acquire whole of that thing. Then we'll go ahead and, make the land even. Then we'll go ahead and make the whole design of the township. How many, premium flat schemes will be there? How many, row houses will be there? How many economy flats? How many, places for the school? Where do we go ahead and put the garden? All those will make a complete plan and get it approved by the government authority. And once it is approved, I will go ahead and now look at this. Listen to this carefully. This part of the story may not sound to be very close to reality even in 1990. Okay, but ye thoda banaya hai story, so don't feel bad about it. What I'm trying to say is that he said that first of all I go ahead and procure all the machinery required for doing something called as the foundation, basically digging the foundation and going to that hard rock and building the thing. So I will do it for everything, for the garden, for the swimming pool, for the all the flat schemes, all the malls, school, whatever, all the foundation I will get it done. Okay. Once the foundation for all the thing are done, I will go ahead and release all the machinery and labor required for that. Now I will go ahead and take the people machinery required for foundation. After the foundation is completed, we'll go ahead and do the brickwork for the whole thing. Brickwork for the school, brickwork for the mall, flats and whatnot, gym, everything. Brickwork. Brickwork ke baad mein finishing. Finishing ke baad electrification. And then, on a great grand day called as the Dashara, we'll go ahead and say the whole township is now ready for, inauguration. Did you find what they were doing is almost like what we are doing? Yes, friends. Do you find similarity between what we people as a software were calling it as SDLC? Yes, Lavanya?
Yeah, it is all project is like a project, like how we were doing earlier, all the starting, getting all the requirements, and then, starting the coding and all that.
Correct.
It was
So
like,
Lavanya,
yeah,
that's what they do in the hard world, which is called as the civil
yeah,
engineering project, correct?
yeah.
Yes. Sandeep?
Yes, sir. Plan
So,
execution.
so when this whole thing, I mean, he went ahead and told, यार हम भी ऐसे ही करते, तुम ना बड़े बड़े बात करते हो. You speak a lot, but what we do is exactly same thing. And then, the meeting got concluded. Then later, sometime in 2007 and all that thing, we met again. By then, he has moved somewhere else. He's doing he grown into a very senior position, vice president for a construction company. I was also doing a fairly good thing in terms of the software. And again, on the same cup of coffee, we said that how are the things after initial discussions and all that thing about the family. We said, Sanjay, आजकल क्या करते हो? In those days, you were writing the software. So if, those days till now, you would have written all the software. So what do you do now? I said, नहीं यार ऐसा नहीं होता है. Nowadays, we don't do that SDLC. We do something called as Agile. So he said, what do you mean by Agile? I said, see, if I want to go ahead and implement a e-commerce website, remember this example I will keep on saying because e-commerce website modules are very easily understandable by all of the people. This is applicable for ERP implementation. This is applicable for a telecom software. Everywhere it is there. Example is e-commerce. If I want to do the e-commerce website, I said that I don't go ahead and capture the whole requirement. I go ahead and understand what do they want as a static website. So again, now this is 1st of January 2009. Okay. I go ahead and build a static website and make it live on 1st of February 2009. Static website, nothing. Once you do that, the whole thing will be seen, our contacts and all that thing. If you click onto our contact, he will give the phone number, give the order on the phone, and we'll deliver it to you. Then 1st of March, we'll go ahead and deliver catalog functionality. So here it was a static website. Here I am giving a catalog. So people will be able to see the catalog, browse through that, and electronic items, kitchen items, and whatnot. Then 1st of April, I will allow him to give the ordering as well. The order will also be possible there. Then by May, I will go ahead and do sales return and whatnot. So those type of thing. I will not break the whole thing into one thing called as a www.myshop.com. myshop.com. Pura requirements I will not take. I will take only piece of the requirement for that particular functionality, roll it over. He said that, why do you do all that thing? I said that, boss, very simple. People are able to see what I'm doing. 1st of February, customers see that, yeah, this is what I'm doing. They will give me some corrections about any mistakes if I have done in the month of January. I will go ahead and incorporate in the March. I will probably go ahead and do this second functionality is like that. And that's how we do it. So basically, people are able to see the product continuously, and based on the mistakes or any limitation in the prior module or anything, we go ahead and rectify it there. And that's where we call it as agile. I told him, saying that, ki, boss, wo SDLC and whatever I was telling you, whatever 20 years back, wo abhi nahi hai. There is no more. We are actually doing agile. To my surprise, his comment was same. He said that, ki, aap log na baat bahut karte ho. You people come up with the new terms. There is nothing. Isme there is no rocket science. I said, what do you mean? He said that, look at it. What do I do nowadays? He said that we get the whole land parcel together is true, but we don't go ahead and make the design of whole township in one go. We go ahead and make a design only for two flat schemes, which are, one is a 3 BHK, 2 BHK, one economy and one premium type of thing there. And then go ahead and make it completely, launch it, we sell it. And once we sell it, sometimes customers say that, ki, if I was getting, maybe some 2.5 BHK, something in between, I would have probably preferred it. Someone say that, there is one of my friend, he doesn't need a big home. So I mean, next one, if you done 1 BHK, I'm sure you would have bought it there. Now, based on that, I go ahead and make the new design for the new scheme. After I go ahead and launch that second 1 BHK and 2.5 BHK, some people came back and they said that, I don't mind giving another 400 rupees per square foot additional had there been a mall in this thing. So next one, I will go ahead and design a mall and do it. Basically, I don't go ahead and make the whole design and implement there. I keep on adjusting that design. And that's how I do it. So are you getting? They are also going towards what we call it as agile. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, Sandeep,
Sir, I
please
have
say.
a question.
Yes, Amruta.
So this is about the adaptive, which is agile technology.
Correct.
So and this scope freezing column, it states, the scope is like completely dynamic. So is it, is it true that we can just completely change the scope even after like starting the project and after finishing a few stages of projects?
Correct. Amruta, there is a word here which will come a little later. It is called as product roadmap. Have you heard this word? Product roadmap.
Yeah.
And then there is a something called as a product backlog, which we will see. And then there is a something called as a Scrum backlog. Okay, iteration backlog. Now, what
What is
happens,
the second one,
Amruta,
product
is that
what? Second one.
what happens, Amruta, is that a product roadmap is a broader thing which says. So when we are saying completely, flexible, if it is completely flexible, then you will have a problem. What does it mean, Amruta? Translating it to our thing, saying that, from Pune, I decided that let's go to Ladakh, and I'm not going to use PMP methodology. I'm going to do Agile. So I said that, ki, chalo, kal, let's go to Nagpur. Then next day I said that, what do we do today? We'll go ahead and go to the Agra. Okay, the example will not fit exactly, but Agra. And then, Amruta, you can't say that, ki, are, abhi Rameshwaram chalte hai. You can't do that. That flexibility will be a disaster. Correct, Amruta?
That's right. Yeah.
Now, what is there that flexible? It is actually trying to say, rather than you going ahead and deciding where are you going to do, go ahead and book a hotel there, go ahead and, make the arrangement and think, saying that where will I go ahead and refuel my car? That is not which they say. That's what is more like the waterfall method. Here, so product roadmap, Amruta, you cannot change. What happens? Priority of the features do change there. In earlier software development methodology, SDLC and waterfall, the problem was that, I was freezing that in the beginning, and I was also making a complete plan there. And that's where this word called as plan driven comes here. They have given this word called as a plan driven, Amruta. They are saying, which means, you will go ahead and first of all decide the thing. go ahead and make a plan, and after that your job is to ensure that that plan is fulfilled. That's what you do it. You don't allow him to go ahead and change a objective there. Here, on the other hand, product roadmap, you should have a broad thing. You should not change it every now and then. And no one does it, Amruta. The problem what was happening in SDLC or, those type of thing was that, sometimes people used to come up with the new requirements. Suddenly they used to forget, and that was making a problem there. So that's where they are, calling it as a plan driven versus change driven. So when you are actually, speaking about the completely flexible, don't think that, it could be that flexible that it will, you can't change you can change even the roadmap. Roadmap you cannot, it will create, a big mess there. Correct, Amruta?
Yes, yes.
And by the way, down the line, one of the slide I will show it to you. By the way, now listen to these friends, while I am speaking to Amruta, everyone please listen. They say that here, it is a very cost optimistic, which means your cost will reduce if you are using waterfall. And here they said your customer satisfaction will be high, which necessarily, if I go ahead and extend that statement, Amruta, I will say that the cost is not optimized in Agile and customer satisfaction is not at peak in SDLC. Why?
Okay, that was my subsequent question for you. So, I mean, since the scope is like completely dynamic here, so, I mean, do you think that also makes an impact on, the project cost and project schedule?
Yes, people, what do you think? If we keep on changing the, or deciding the scope just at the start of every month, will that increase the cost, Uday?
Yes, obviously.
Obviously, it will. Yes, Smriti?
Yes, it
Yes, sir.
will
Yes, sir.
be change it.
Amruta,
It will
absolutely
get
correct. It
changed.
will. But what happens, Amruta, with that is that you end up creating something which you need. If you are using SDLC type of thing, you will do it at a minimum cost. But by the end of 8th month, you might realize the requirement which I gave was not perfect. I need to make some changes there. Now, remember again, VUCA world, Amruta. This has become common because the income tax laws, GST laws, excise, customs, all those laws were fairly stable in the old days. That's why I was able to write a software like that. Nowadays, if I go ahead and ask the user saying that, can you freeze me and tell me what all reports are required? He will come back and Amruta, he will say that ki boss, मैं तेरे को बोल सकता है, but what about Madam Sita, Sitaraman sitting in Delhi? If she tomorrow comes up with a new requirement, you will have to do it within a month. And if I don't do it, my competitor will do it and I will be in trouble. Are you realizing the difference in that situation and this now?
Yes.
So even if it is not very cost effective, you switch to Agile. Which means sometimes you do the thing and then you realize this was not the best way, you'll go ahead and modify it here. While that modification here was difficult, Amruta. Correct?
Yeah.
So theoretically, whatever requirement he was giving it to me, he was coming into the picture only in the end of the thing. And at the time of user acceptance testing, he will go ahead and be little unhappy for part of the thing because he didn't give the requirement, or part of the thing because whatever he said, I didn't understand it. But abhi ka cycle फिर से 8 महीना, Amruta. Are you getting this point?
Yeah.
Because now if you want to change 8 महीने वाला project, now that's not going to work. So your guess, all the people you are actually thinking saying that cost का क्या होगा? Cost in Agile increases, cost in productive actually reduces. By the way, on that civil construction example, why would cost reduce, friends? Just think about that thing and you will get the reason why cost is reduced in Agile waterfall. Yes, Uday.
Fixed. Everything is fixed in that and
Everything is
planned.
fixed. Mass वाला काम होगा उदय, correct?
Correct.
I will bring all the machinery required for all the foundation, whole of whatever 1 million square feet work I am going to do it. Pura foundation, if I do it together, rather than doing only 2000 square foot work every time, Ajay, Uday, it's going to increase the cost, isn't it? वो पूरा labor you will bring one go, machinery you will bring in one go and finish it. Obviously, you are going to reduce the cost, correct?
Correct.
If you are actually going to go ahead and buy the tiles, you are not going to the local dealer in this old method. You will directly talk to Sumani and buy so
Correct.
much of a tile from the factory itself. तेरे को सस्ते में मिलेगा, correct Uday?
Correct.
So it will reduce your cost, no doubt about it. The problem about that whole thing, Uday, is that, in this new methodology, if I go ahead and take that there, you would have realized those people when they are coming up, once the first two towers are released, the next third tower means specifications, they keep on improving it. Did you notice that as well? I'm sure you would have
Hmm.
gone through this experience.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
Tower A and B they were using, whatever 1 feet by 1 feet tile, they will use, 2 feet by 2 feet, or maybe some vitreous tile. I don't know what does it mean, but they will keep on changing it, na?
Correct.
So customer satisfaction will be plus here, cost will be plus here, because cost will save, correct? Okay. So that's what was there. They are also switching into the thing. But while they are doing it, remember, friends, it was not that only that civil engineer and me were the, whole of the people in the industry. There were so many people. They are doing different thing. Everyone is moving from this waterfall method to equivalent of, agile method. We call it as waterfall SDLC. We call it as agile. But every other industry, in case of the automobile R&D departments who used to come up with the new models of the thing, more efficient cars, better looking cars and all that thing. Now, the earlier days, they used to come up, they used to say that, in 2 years, we are going to come up with a very brilliant new model there. And that's what we were doing. I did it because
So
I was part of
people,
Mahindra and Mahindra. Yes, Prasad.
so yeah, so people moving to agile because to get only customer satisfaction, or
It,
there are some other reasons.
First thing is that it is more closer to the customer satisfaction. Obviously, more than that, Prasad, if you try to look at it there, what will happen is that what you get at the end of 8 months will be more close to what do you want, because every month you are going to review it. See, इसमें सिर्फ software development guys or the people who are delivering the project, they are not only getting adjusted, Prasad, even user himself is getting little bit educated at the every end of every iteration. Is that correct, Prasad?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And one suggestion from my side, sir,
uh-huh.
because I'm not fully IT guy, so
Yeah.
I'm not understanding the single word from the IT. Okay, I'm pure manufacturer guy. So you can provide some general examples to understand these things.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like just you just mentioned Amruta about this traveling thing, right? So that
Correct.
understand easily for me. But
Exactly.
this
So
static
we'll use that.
websites and
Your mind,
other
Prasad.
things that
Hmm.
completely not understanding to me. Okay.
No problem, Prasad. Yeah. Good. So coming back to this, what happened, as I told you, this waterfall SDLC where the software guy's word, agile was their word, PMI actually went ahead and made a more encompassing word called as productive versus adaptive. Remember productive because you are predicting what the final product will look like and then make a plan around it. That's why it is also called as plan driven or productive there. Productive means, productive methodology when implemented by software guys is called as waterfall. Productive methodology implemented by civil engineering guy might have some other name. Productive is basically where you freeze the scope and make a plan and try to complete it by adhering to that particular plan. Similarly, agile is a very software word. Overall industry, if you want to, use one word which is encompassing agile for all the things they came up with, or they coined the word called as adaptive. It's an adaptive life cycle, which means your scope is getting involved and you are getting adapted to that. That's how you are doing. It does not mean, by the way, Prasad, that you should not know that where are you going. Let's say you are starting from Pune and going to Leh and Ladakh. Okay. Waterfall, equivalent of waterfall will be booking the hotels for each of the things, saying that where am I going to have the lunch, where I'm going to have the afternoon coffee, and so on and so forth. Correct, Prasad?
Yeah.
But if it was actually if it is a agile, equivalent of agile, if they don't obviously the travelers and those people don't call it as agile. What does adaptive means? They will go ahead and say that apne ko Ladakh jana hai, I think we should take approximately 13 days. So in the first day, I think somewhere around Nagpur or Chindwara, we should reach there. You reach there and then say that, yesterday I think we were little slow, roads were really bad, and our vehicle is not as fast as we thought. So let's do today. We'll go ahead and tomorrow we'll go ahead and plan up to the Bhopal. Now, is it possible to implement? There are obviously some limitations here, Prasad. If it is an adventure type of trip, you would realize they will use this. Is that correct, Prasad? Do you have
Yeah.
some guys who do things like that? Yes, Prasad?
Yeah. Yeah.
वो फॉरेनर्स आके घूमते हैं ना ऐसे.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to whatever, Gokarna, Mahabaleshwar, or तू पर 6 महीना छुट्टी सैंक्शन करेगा, you will go ahead and book the hotel and all that thing. Prasad, I am sure you would have met across those, typical Britishers and all those Western guys there. They don't do that.
Yeah.
Correct? They decide कि आज, and then someone said कि हाँ अभी आज यहाँ रुक लो because there is some festival there and you will be able to see something. They stop there. They don't book the hotel even for the next day. Both of those things are having their own advantage. We used it into the travel type of thing, which is now on the other hand, if you are going into such a place, Prasad, with your family, you can't do agile.
Yeah.
Correct, Prasad?
Yeah.
बहुत गाली पड़ेगी तेरे family members से.
Yeah. I have to plan things.
You need to plan it. Otherwise, I mean, they will shout at you saying, what is this? You are just deciding कि कल कहाँ करना है. You need. So obviously for you, productive is better there. Correct? It
Yeah.
will also optimize your cost. Are you getting it?
Yeah. So, so optimizing the cost in plan-driven thing.
Correct.
So there is no customer satisfaction then.
It's not that it is not there, but it is in the beginning. See, basically customer satisfaction. Why they are saying customer satisfaction? Because your customer has a lot of flexibility, Prasad. So they, say that, I mean, did you notice, Prasad, in all the things, all these travels there, did you notice that every time in whole of that 8 days वाला तू जो प्लान किया होगा, inherently your family members said कि वो ना थोड़ा मनाली में और एक दिन रहता था तो अच्छा था, and कुल्लू में unnecessarily we spent 3 days. Have you noticed it?
Yeah.
Customer satisfaction वाला है, क्योंकि प्लान ड्रिवन है तू. I want to see that festival if I would have stayed one day, but you can't do that now because the next hotel is already booked. That
Yeah.
is what I am saying, customer. Now, customer satisfaction, does it translate only to this? If you look at this particular thing, if your family is very comfortable कि boss ठीक ठाक रहने के लिए चाहिए, customer satisfaction यहाँ नहीं मिलेगा. I mean, don't even think about it. Are you getting the
Yeah.
places and all those arrangements? What we people do, these people who are sort of travelers from the European countries, they come and roam around there. वो कभी कभी they stay in a very, economy places. Have you noticed it?
Yes.
तो होता ही है. I mean, customer satisfaction is not necessarily that is a proprietary of the agile, and cost is proprietary about the productive. ऐसा नहीं है. I mean, it's not necessarily the case there. Okay, so that's how it actually works. So these are the two methodologies: adaptive and the thing change driven versus plan driven. Now comes to two interim things there called as iterative and incremental. Now to understand and this, there is a better diagram which these people have shown, so I will show that thing there. Okay. So there we go, and where is my slideshow wala button? There I go. This one I have, this is, I reproduced it. This is from the book as it is here. This is what. So this was the productive. Now where degree of change is low and frequency of delivery is also low. It is yahan dikh nahi raha, it is low and low. What does it mean? Degree of change is low, which means you freeze the requirement in the beginning. Don't come up with the creative new requirements. Ye bhi report chahiye. I think we should go ahead and do this validation. You don't do it in productive. You go ahead and freeze it in the beginning, and then in the end of the, whatever, if I take the same example, 1st January till 31st of August, I will not change it in between. That's the low degree of change. Delivery, frequency of delivery is low, which means I will take the requirement in the beginning, deliver it only in the end. After 8 months, I am going to do it. It's called as productive, which is, SDLC or waterfall, we call it as there. If you go to the agile, which is on the other corner of it, degree of changes is high because you are not freezing the requirement for whole of the project. You are going to take only requirement for a month at a time, and then you are going to deliver it at the end of the month. And then again go ahead and say, now let us sit down for the next 2 days and identify what do we want to do in this month. You go ahead and take it and do it. That's where it is high degree of change and high frequency of the delivery is what is this methodology called as Agile. Now, what has happened is because of this particular representation or these two ways of working, they have come up with something called as incremental and iterative, which are here. What is incremental? You are taking the requirement in the beginning, but rather than showing that requirement, rather than changing that, you don't allow him to change that requirement, but keep on delivering one module every month. That's frequency of deliveries. From 1st of January, 1st of February, 1st of March, you will deliver something. But it was already decided what you are going to do. Advantage of this incremental over the productive is that here customer is able to see the product as it is getting built. He will be able to see the product as it is getting built, because every month something will be shown to him saying that हाँ इतना हो रहा है चलो आगे, इतना हो रहा है go ahead there. Very odd example, friends, but Prasad, I mean, when this pizza delivery and all those people, they came up with 20 minutes में pizza and all that, correct?
Yeah.
One of the very funny thing which was actually said to be a customer satisfaction improvement was that आपने order दे दिया ना, you go on to their order site and you will find that they will go ahead and say कि, now your order is in the oven, now your order is the ice cream is getting made, now your order is getting packed there, now your order has started from the thing, now your order is somewhere between, and then it comes. When do you get the pizza, Prasad? When do you get pizza? 20 minutes के बाद में, correct?
Yes.
But you are able to see the progress in between. That seeing progress in between will actually give you a little bit of satisfaction कि boss हो क्या रहा है अभी, rather than you picking up a phone and calling the customer care कि हाँ मेरा order कहाँ तक आया, and then he goes हाँ अरे वो प्रसाद साहब का क्या हुआ कि नहीं pack, and then all that thing is gone there. Incremental has its own advantage, even though you are seeing some part of the thing, final delivery nahi aa raha hai, but you are still able to do it. So some part of the information, some part of the delivery is to be seen there is incremental. If you look at iterative is other corner. What does it mean is that you are asking the requirement every month, but you keep on building it in the kitchen and then say now next month kya kuru, next month. Delivery is only in the end here. Delivery is only in the end. Now I'm not very sure why did they went ahead and promoted iterative is not the real because it's not giving much of a benefit to you. It is for you as a developer, it is giving an advantage that you are able to see the product getting built there. But customer nahi na, customer ke liye this is only end of the delivery. The only thing that rather than on the 1st of January, I asking him, saying, okay, give me all the requirement and now don't come back to me till 31st of August. Rather than that, I am actually asking him, saying, what do you want? I am asking him the requirement and then I build it. It is almost like, if I were to again use the very funny food related analogy, it is saying that, I am asking him कि आप क्या लेंगे? So he said that I will take the roti. So I go ahead and make the roti. Okay, और आप क्या लेंगे? I will take the dal. So I will go ahead and make the dal. और क्या लेंगे? And then I am then going to serve it only as a thali at the end of it. Now I don't know why would you use this iterative as a methodology, but because these are the three corners there, the fourth one is called as iterative, which is there. Okay. Anyone? Any question before we proceed? Pratik.
Yes, sir.
Any question?
No, sir. No, sir.
Uday, Vinit, Lavanya, Mayuri?
No, sir, no questions.
Okay. So that's what are these, methodologies there, which we might get there. This is productive and iterative. The difference there is something like this. Remember this productive and iterative. Yeah, this one versus this one. These two. The difference between these two he is trying to explain here. It says that it's a very linear. Analyze, design, build, test, and deliver. Friends, I was telling about the example of the project as the cooking for a party which had whatever 300 visitors in the evening. Is that a project? The caterer delivering, making the food for a party. Is that a project?
Yeah.
It's a project, isn't it, Amruta?
Yes.
Now, these words are very software-like, isn't it? Analyze, design, pandit, build, test, and deliver, Amruta, correct? I'm sure that caterer guy, if he's not very literate guy, may not even understand meaning of this, correct?
Yes.
But does he do analyze, design, build, test, and deliver?
Yes.
Food delivery. Very funny, correct,
Yeah.
Amruta?
Yes.
That's there. You would realize these are the generic things which all the industries are using. There is nothing to get surprised about it. And that's what PMI says. PMI says that, these are all the things applicable to all the industries there. Software guys, they are the one who coined it and so on and so forth, but it is there. Now comes to the second one, which is called iterative. Here, analysis is done once, but then design and subsequent refinement of the design is done continuously, and that is done through something called as a prototype. A small prototype, if you keep on showing it to customers, saying, "Haan, theek hai," and once he is happy with the prototype, you go ahead and build and test together. Basically, building and testing happens together, and you refine the product and then deliver. So what happens here? You have the intervention. For example, because of the prototype, you end up involving the customer in between. Because of this testing, you are involving the customer multiple times, so that for him this is not a surprise. Here it was a big surprise. Whatever he was doing, he had no idea. It was a black box for the end customer, while here it is slightly better, and that's what iterative says. And remember this thing word there, Pratik and everyone, prototype is commonly used in iteration, correct? Prasad. Prasad.
Hello.
Hello, your voice was stuck a little bit.
Is it now better? Let it get
Yeah,
stabilized.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I can hear you. So,
Prasad.
is it okay to see, means, is it okay to means to say that the more customization or more changes happened in the iterative?
Exactly. And that's where, in fact, cost normally increases in these methods, Prasad.
Yeah, okay. So now
It
this
increases because
everyone,
requirement
means
change ho
any
jayega,
industry
Prasad.
is
Correct?
using this iterative life cycle nowadays. In example,
Huh. If you look at it, all the software guys are always using. But Prasad, which company are you working? Automobile, you said?
so I'm working in oil and gas industry.
Acha, oil and gas industry. See,
Yeah,
now if you look into your own industry as well, the way in which it was working 20 years back and the way in which it is working these days is going to change. I will give you an automobile example which will both of us will understand. Is that okay, Prasad?
yeah.
See, when we were making the jeeps and all that thing as a part of Mahindra's Prasad, we used to say that in next 2 years we are going to come up with a new model called as Commander. Do you know there is a model called as Commander?
Yeah.
Huh? Then after that we started saying कि some Scorpio नाम का हम लेके आने वाले. So, and this was a very common thing. Whole of the industry will go ahead and tell. We had a separate studio where we used to build that thing वो पूरा करके, and then on a fine day we'll go ahead and launch it there. Correct, Prasad?
Yeah.
Now what happens? Look at it here. There is nothing planned like that, Prasad. Every car manufacturer, for every segment, which is economy, medium, middle, and premium, they need to launch an upgraded, model every 3 months. Is that right to say?
Yeah.
यही है वो.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you notice? They will go ahead and tell the, dealer. Dealer are the one who are actually telling us all that, correct? Manufacturer ko dealers are the people who give the input, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The person who is selling the, whatever Maruti, Suzuki Desire is one which will come back and tell that कि वो ना Toyota Glanza लिया वो आदमी, because they वो side cup holders are not there. No, I can't bring that side cup holders after 1 year, Prasad. I mean, no one will wait for me. So what
Mm-hmm.
I will go ahead and say, कुछ limited edition कुछ तो भी करके I will go ahead and modify only that part of it and then deliver it. Correct?
Yeah.
That's how iterative is happening. In your industry, oil and gas as well, if you look at it, Prasad, I mean, I'm not able to think of the example because that's little new for me, but it will be there. The, your counterparts, Prasad, who did this profession 20 years back, and the way in which you are doing is going to be different. Correct? Yes?
Yes, sir. I can correlate in terms of oil and gas. Let's
Oh,
say.
please.
See, let's say now Prasad is from oil and gas, and for me also I'm coming from oil and gas only.
Mhm.
So let's say if I'm building the offshore platform, let's say for ONGC,
Mm,
and they award me say 10 typical platforms.
mm, mm, mm,
So like for me to adopt the say agile life cycle.
mm,
So what I'll do, like here we said prototype. Fine.
mm,
So
mm,
as you said, giving the analogy of that civil construction projects,
mm,
here basically when I do the prototype, so here I'll build one
mm.
and then adopt it for the next nine of the platforms. So when I build one, I'll take the customer feedback, what advancement, or from my in-house customers, what advancement they're looking for. So once now the first design is frozen, so I'm into this prototype stage.
Correct.
And so and then I go into the build phase for the remaining one. So
Correct.
this way I'm reducing the risk of the cost or schedule that may come in terms of feedback at the end.
Exactly. In waterfall model, Rahul, your plan will be done and you will show complete adherence to the plan. But you don't know after 10th rig, when it is actually implemented, customer might say that कि ये सब में यार ऐसा होता तो अच्छा होता. Correct?
Correct.
While here it is not. At the prototype, he will come back and say कि राहुल ये सब तो ठीक है, but ये यार, I think whatever, you should have a separate thing for water outlet. क्या है मालूम नहीं आपके इंडस्ट्री में. So you would be able to get the feedback. In fact, not only 1 + 9, Rahul. It is 1 + 1 + 1 10 times ago. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
One rig you will deliver, understand what are the better things, you will do it in the second one. Third one. Obviously, there are bills of materials, small changes होगा ना. You know this word, isn't it? Bills of material.
Yeah, very much.
Now, bills of material, if you are changing it for 10, obviously there are costing बढ़ने वाला है.
Correct, as you rightly said. In fact, it is not 1 + 9 because any life
हाँ, it
cycle
is
of a
1 + 1 + 1 वो 10 बार करना है तेरे को. Correct, Rahul?
yeah, correct. At least I am open for the feedback. अगर मैं
Exactly.
implement करूंगा या नहीं करूंगा, that is the a choice of a customer and me
Correct.
as a contractor. Like how significantly it is going to impact my cost and schedule. But yes, I am open for feedback for every iteration.
Prasad, did you notice this? This is not only software guys. You people are also doing similar thing. Correct, Prasad?
Yes. We are
Dude,
also means relatable this to us.
I can tell you, Prasad and everyone, software guys are damn good about using terminologies. But जो हम करते वही वो लोग करते. The only thing is that Prasad and Rahul, for you, because you are coming from a different industry, the software development delivery industry is more easy to adapt to the agile. For our industry थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है. Are you getting my point? A civil engineer cannot go ahead onto a site and say that कि let us see what we did yesterday. तो आज slab चढ़ा देते. You can't. I mean, for that slab you need to call the machinery, call the labor, keep or raw material पहले करना पड़ेगा ना. If you have more hard dependencies or all that thing, you will have to use waterfall model. Correct?
Your voice is again stuck.
Yeah, is it the case with all others? I mean, was that the
Oh
problem?
no, we are good. You're good. We are able to hear you.
Okay. So maybe a local problem there. Was that Amruta who faced that? No, who faced that problem? Amruta?
Me, yes.
So Amruta, let me repeat what I was trying to tell. Am I audible now, Amruta?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I was trying to tell was, I was trying to tell the people saying that, when you are doing these type of agile methodologies, it is more suitable or easier for the IT guys to do it. While it is slightly difficult for the people who are building something hard. ये oil rig वगैरह में you cannot go ahead and keep on changing the plans every now and then. So obviously that is going to be there. See, frankly speaking, Amruta, what happens rather than I calling it as one project of 8 months. This is your waterfall model. Correct, Amruta?
Yes.
Now I call it as 8 projects of 1 month long. ये agile है. In Agile, don't you do requirement capture? Don't you do design development? You do it, but only for 1 month long. A scope you are breaking in the smaller pieces so that you do the whole cycle again, but within 1 month. And because if you are doing it only for a month, the chances of you coming across the surprises reduce, obviously. Correct?
I have a question, sir.
Yes,
What about the waterfall methodology? So, if we do not have any, iterations or any, repetitive checks, then how do we control the quality?
Control the quality. Now that's where Amruta, the project plan and all those documents, requirements, sign off and all that thing, Amruta becomes very important there. You need to freeze that thing and then keep. So basically, you will understand the requirement, write the test cases, show it to the user and get his sign off saying that these are the test cases, boss. Then you will go ahead and deliver that thing and say, ये test cases पूरा हुआ, खत्म हुआ. Abhi now I am happy. Now in between that period, Amruta, if his requirement changes, you will simply raise your hand, Amruta. You will say कि boss वो तू बोला नहीं था that time. Whatever were the required test cases, I am going to fulfill there. Now you can't change it there. Correct?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's where Amruta are you getting. They themselves said that waterfall may not always give the higher customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
I will not be able to catch Amruta saying that what you have done wrong because Amruta would have already got sign off from me on the requirement. You want an exercise report with such and such thing, she will show it to me. I will say, हाँ ये सब ठीक है अमृता report तो बहुत अच्छा बना है but अभी I need a new thing. I want the GST TAN number also to be reflecting in the report. And Amruta said क्या करेंगे? That time you didn't tell me. So I am dissatisfied, but I can't point a finger at you. Correct? While in Agile, what will happen? I am not freezing it for a duration which is not longer than, whatever, 1 month. They say 2 weeks. Minimum sprint is 2 weeks, maximum is 4 weeks. That's what they say. We'll see that, that will come across. So good. That's what is important. If you have understood this and one more slide there, you have understood whole of the Agile thing. Remaining thing you can, we'll go through the whole slides there, but more of a self-explanatory. Here, look at it here. It is called as incremental life cycle. Sorry. Incremental life cycle. You would realize that, all the things, each of the phase, or they call it as an iteration, as analysis, design, build, test, deliver, analyze, deliver. The only thing here is that width of each box, which represent the timeline, is different. For example, this was a 4-week sprint. This was a 2-week sprint. This was a 3-week sprint. At the start, when you do the analyze, you say that I will do the delivery by such and such date. So it's a varying, width of the thing, but you are doing the same thing. So that is, so it is, this is nothing else but, 3 projects of 1 month each. 3 projects of approximately 1 month. 3 projects, one is of the 4-week long, one is 2-week long, and third one is 3-week long. So these are 3 separate projects. Rather than doing the whole analysis in the beginning and delivering it in the end, you are going to do 3 deliveries there, So incremental.
So just one thing, you just
Yes,
use that sprint word here. So
that word I have not yet spoken. Sprint is basically, Prasad, is called as iteration. It's an iteration, which means one set of delivery, Prasad.
Okay.
वो राहुल वाला जो बोला ना, तो
Mm-hmm.
one rig getting delivered.
Yeah. Okay.
That is called as a sprint there. If we were to use their word and our word there. But the methodology, Prasad, they have came up saying that, one sprint, I'm not, now that
It
part
means
is
sprint based.
only
It's like
Prasad, sir.
it's like a span of a time, right?
It's a span of the time. Yeah. And it's a, one piece of the software which should be ready and should be given there. It should be, see, typically, na, Prasad, if you go ahead and look at this particular, Rahul jo bol raha tha, na, that whole
I mean span
implementation.
of time for a specific phase of that project.
But more than phase, also there is one more thing, Prasad, which will come up, as we go down the line. But because you are asking the question, and listen to this carefully, Prasad, friends, while Prasad is asking, see, it has to deliver some product which you are able to show it to the customer. See, Prasad, when there was an intelligent guy, a very smart engineer, he was told saying that all these software guys are going into Agile. So they said that Prasad, aap kya karo? You are also into island industry, but hum log bhi kar lenge. People are saying that you should do it. So Prasad acted little smart there. What he did, He said that in the, out of whatever, it is a 6-year project, building 10 rigs there. He said that first 6 months, I will go ahead and make the whole design of all the rigs there and show it to them, and ye ek mera sprint ho gaya, design completed. Then I will go ahead and, do the procurement for all the thing and do it. No, that's pseudo agile, Prasad, correct?
Okay.
The real agile is that you should be able to deliver something which customer will see and he will say it is good, correct? There are design document pe na, Prasad, customer will always go ahead and sign it off. He will say, हाँ बराबर है, correct?
Yeah.
Because he is not master, you are master of it. Rig ke design mein if there is a mistake, customer will not have an idea about what is missing here, correct?
Yeah.
So you are absolutely right. It is a part broken into the thing, but when you are breaking it, you should go ahead and break it in such a way that you are able to show something. And that's where anyone here knows this word. We'll explain it to Prasad, friends. Anyone knows MVP? I'm sure some of you people from the software would know this word. MVP? Why? Whatever. A lot of silence there. Haven't heard about this MVP? Yes, Sandeep.
No.
You haven't? Rahul?
Minimum viable product.
That was Vinith?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vinith. It
So
is called as
basically,
minimum viable product. Prasad, आप समझ रहे हो ये word? Minimum viable product. Correct? So in one iteration, if you only create the documentation, it is not minimum viable product because customer is not able to see that, correct? So that's what Vinith, you are right. Okay. Now coming back to there are two ways to do this implementation. This same thing, requirement analyze, design and test. There are two ways. One is that go ahead and keep a prefixed interval, that every month I am going to do something every month. While in the flow-based agile, this is called as iteration-based agile. In flow-based agile, it is the requirement is taken from the given, iteration and decided that it will be delivered in 4 weeks. Then next one is smaller, so this time I will do it 2 weeks. Then it is little bigger, 5 weeks. So I will keep on, deciding the length of the iteration at the start of each iteration and then deliver it at the end of it. This is also agile way of working there. But the problem about this approach, flow-based agile is not, it's not, you can't call this is not an agile. This is still an agile. But the problem about these, friends, what happens is that the user have no idea saying that once the product is ready, when will the next piece come? While in this thing, this is called as a time boxed method. Let me write it here so that you understand that. Time boxed method. Now, what does it mean? Time box method is basically, they are saying that there is a predetermined thing saying that, after so many days, my new product iteration is going to come. The new iteration will be at the end of every month, let's say. Now, there is a obvious advantage if you are, if you are working very closely with the end users. I'm sure you would have realized there is an advantage of this. Anyone? What's the advantage of this approach? If there is do you have something called as a release calendar in your company where you are working?
Sorry, what is the release calendar?
I was saying
Yes,
the
we have.
release calendar. Yes, Ravanya?
Yes. We have the release calendar.
You have a release calendar. So what are you going to deliver, Lavanya, your team? What they are going to deliver after 4 months is not known. But you know for sure that 30th of April, there is going to be a release. 15th of
Yes.
June, there is going to be a release. That is for sure. What will be delivered that time, we will decide when we go closer to that. But in the beginning, it is known. Now, see what happens, friends, is that why is this useful? Because end user who are finally going to use the product, they have a visibility saying that it is, coming at such and such time. It is almost, friends, like, a public transport system where the bus is guaranteed after every 20 minutes. That makes a comfort to the end users, isn't it? Passengers, are they comfortable when they know that when is the next bus going to come? Yes. It allows them to plan the things accordingly. Correct, friends?
Yes.
This is called as a release calendar. As Lavanya was saying, this is called as a release calendar. There is a calendar fixed there. You need to then at the start of every iteration say that what functionalities I can give by this date. Now these dates are already fixed there. But here you go ahead and say this time I think we will be able to develop all the transactions, but reporting abhi nahi lete because I don't think we should be able to make. Here once you go there, you will say that there are some fixes for the prior one and some reports. The critical compliance report I will do it. The moment you come here, here are some more reports which are required for the presentation. Compliance wale ho gaya abhi. Now let me go ahead. So you decide you freeze the scope of the next iteration at the beginning, but when that release will be done is known in the beginning. That's the beauty of this. This is called iteration based agile, which is there. And Prasad, I was using the word called as the Scrum. Scrum is one of the methodology of agile. In which they have the iteration is called as a Scrum, or not Scrum. It is called as a sprint. Scrum is a method. It's called as a sprint. So one iteration and sprint are one and the same thing. Sprint is is the name given by a methodology called as Scrum, which you will be seeing in the slide just maybe one or two down the line. Any questions here?
Sir, I have a question if you can help me
Yes,
with.
Sandeep.
See, we are talking about the life cycle, 4 life cycle. You just showed me that one is the SDLC, another one is called incremental, then we have iteration, and then I have agile.
Agile, correct.
But what I heard about the agile terminology is the splitting of the project into multiple manageable phases, or that we call sprint.
Exactly.
Right? So this incremental life cycle is a part of agile or is a part of SDLC?
They are actually complying to lot of agile related things there. Now, Sandeep, what happens here is that agile in that sense, if you look at it there, they are sort of, they have, precisely so you will learn that. They said there are 4 values and 12 principles. I will explain you those principles.
That will come later, I think.
So, whatever methodologies which complies to these values and principles is agile. So, agile is not one methodology. Agile is the वो जो बोलते हैं, I mean कुछ जगह पे Sandeep, I'm sure you have realized that you said so religion is a bigger thing and it's a mindset. That is a mindset. Now you might have multiple practices in that particular religion. Correct, Sandeep?
Right.
Scrum एक methodology है. There is something called as XP. XP is a short form of express programming. There is something called as a Kanban. These are all the things in a bigger umbrella called as Agile. So in Agile, there are multiple methods. Every one of them need to comply to fair amount of values and principles. You can implement any of them. Most of the companies, Sandeep, they implement is called as Scrum because Scrum is the most popular methodology there. However, doing Scrum means you have done Agile, and if you have done XP, you have not done is not the right statement there. Correct? Not to speak anything about the religious things, but the people who follow God Shiva could follow certain practices. Some people will go ahead and follow, let's say, Vishnu way of working. Someone else will, but finally they will come under a bigger umbrella called as the Hinduism. Something like that. Agile is that it's a bigger way of thought processes, which are 4 things, and for that there are multiple methods there. Correct? Scrum is most popular there. Correct, Sandeep?
Okay.
But good questions are coming in such a way that मेरा काम कम होने वाला है. Because down the line exactly same thing is shown into a slide. But I thought that rather than waiting, answer it right now. So slide दिखेगा तो you would understand.
One more thing, sir. This iteration based agile and flow based agile. I can see the boxes size are different. Is it based on the time duration we are taking?
That's the exact thing. Correct. The width of the box, Sandeep, is showing the time duration. Now, what's the difference in iteration based and flow based? Tell me now. Yes. Anyone can help Sandeep as well while I'm sure he will guess it. You are right. Yeah, width same hai. So then how would that differ when it comes to implementation? Yes, Sandeep?
I think iteration is based out of a specific period, what we are scope we are going to cover, and flow based is something that specific scope is covered in whatever time it will take, right?
So, Sandeep, scope is given, timeline is calculated here.
Yes, correct.
Here, timeline is given. So, now what will you calculate?
we have to distribute the scope accordingly.
Exactly. You need to pick up the scope accordingly.
Correct. Okay, got it.
That's the fundamental difference between these two. But very nice observation, Sandeep. Friends, did you all understood this? Do you calculate the time based on the scope, or do you calculate the scope based on the time? Is the difference between these two? Yes, Prasad. Prasad ji. Whatever. Prasad is silent. Amruta, is that making sense? Lavanya?
Can you repeat your question, sir?
The question, sir.
Okay, so let me repeat the explanation of this Lavanya and Amruta. What we are trying to say is that here the width of the box is constant, which is actually representing timeline. Let's say this is all 4 weeks, so 4 week, 4 week, 4 week, everything is 4 week. Now what happens if 4 week is known there at the start of it? What I will say, I will go ahead and pick up, speak to the user and ask them, say, "Tere ko kya kya chahiye?" Now he will come up with a whole lot of list, Amruta, correct? But I will stop in at the things in it. Out of this, tell me the priorities, because all this I cannot do it in 4 weeks. So I will take the priority one and then deliver it at the end of the 4 week. Then again I will sit, Amruta, with the user and say कि अभी 4 week के लिए. He gives me whole lot of thing prioritize. I will keep on delivering. So here, if you look at it here, Amruta, we are not calculating the time required. We are calculating the scope I can deliver in the given timeline. Correct, Amruta?
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
come to the second box, which is here. It said that here at the start of it, I will actually go ahead and ask him, say, "Tera requirement kya hai?" He will give it to me, whatever, 1 day of meeting, it will go on, or 2 days. And at the end of it, I will say, this looks to be good. मैं ना तेरे को 5 weeks में I will give it to you. I have calculated the timeline for the requirement he has given. Then again, I sit down with him for a day, and this time he has given so many requirements. So I ask him, "Do you have anything more there?" No, no, these are okay. Then I will deliver this in 2 weeks. Third time when I sat, he came up with huge list there. I said, "No, no, ये time तो मेरे को 6 weeks." So are you realizing what you are doing? Here, scope is given, time is calculated. Here, time is given, scope is calculated. Correct, Amruta?
Yes, that's right.
That's what we are trying to say.
Sanjay.
Yes.
Hello. Sanjay.
Ajay.
See, actually, first iteration process is, how is it possible? See, actually, we have user module, we have finance module, we have sales module. See,
Correct.
actually, user module having 3 pages and sales module having 6 pages. Finance module having 2 pages. I'm
Correct.
typically IT example giving to you.
Yes.
Okay, so we cannot say, see, actually, anyhow, user cannot say, बॉस मुझे 2 पेजेस दे दो, तुमने तो 2 महीने का कैलकुलेट किया है, 2 वीक का, तो 2 पेजेस दे दो, बाकी के सेल्स के 2 पेजेस बाद में दे दो. See, actually, this is not the real practice. Nowadays, what we are doing, user module is completed in 2 weeks. We can say that yes, we will going to give you in 2 weeks. But the sales module having 6 pages, it is not possible to give in 2 weeks. Then we cannot pick that model. So how we can go with iteration in that case?
So Ajay, strictly speaking, extremely dependent type of thing. Whenever there are the interdependencies between the functionalities, you cannot think of it. You'll have to go with waterfall only.
Okay.
Correct? What
Yes,
is
yes,
happening,
exactly.
Ajay, the reason for which this is becoming practical nowadays, let me give you the reason as well why it is happening. See, what has happened, Ajay, is that core development wala, developing the whole product from scratch, which we people were doing, Ajay. I mean, that was what was my life in the beginning of my career, where I used to develop everything. What time if someone would have came and gave me this presentation, I would have thrown it, saying it, ki, "Boss, aisa hota nahi hai." The same question what you are asking, I would have asked him there. But nowadays, if you look at it, Ajay, what happens? You have the whole product which is implemented and installed on your server. You are only customizing certain
Yes, yes,
functionalities.
exactly. Now,
So many
nowadays,
things.
this is
Now
possible.
that is possible because आप पूरा टुकड़े टुकड़े में कर रहे हो, Ajay. Correct?
Yes, yes.
Now this is possible because of that modular concept of the software. So I mean, for example, there को materials management. I mean, you are using this word, so let me use them. Materials management you want to implement, and आपका GL code fix नहीं हुआ है. You can't do this, यार. Correct? Your general ledger codes
Yes.
need to be decided in the beginning. You cannot do something like that, na? So there is if there is a high order, then someone cannot go ahead and say, कि अभी मेरे को पहला नहीं, you go ahead and implement inventory. And then down the line, it will be so difficult to make the changes when finance will come into the picture, correct?
So can we consider interaction based agile methodology is useful for already built project, and now we are going to provide the support or something
Improvement, correct.
improvement?
अभी क्या हुआ है agile problem क्या हुआ है agile मालूम है क्या? There is no hard stop saying that this is where implementation is gone and this is where the support is starting. These days it is continuously getting improved, correct? That's very common.
Yes.
As a hard stop in here, which was earlier the case. There used to be, here the development is done, now goes into the support. Nowadays it is completely mixed up. So SAP, when you go ahead and implement, the GL and all those finance functionalities are implemented, and then remaining thing you will keep on taking so much, you deliver it there. So whenever it is possible to do it in the pieces, there only these methodologies are useful. Otherwise, they are not necessarily. So जो core implementation वाला part है, doing agile there is difficult.
Okay.
So that's how it works. The same thing, what was that? Was asking that question. Exactly आपने यही पूछा था मेरे ख्याल से. Productive is scope is given, time is calculated. In adaptive, time is given. And you say how much scope I can deliver. So negotiate with the end user saying that this is what I can deliver in so much of time and go ahead there. Obvious consequence of this is this one. Did you notice this? What does this mean? Last statement.
It's not a fixed one.
And the fixed time is not there. Uday, what does it translate into? No fixed cost business. Correct? If iterations are not fixed, you cannot do it in a committed cost. Correct?
Correct.
You'll have to use models like time and material.
Correct.
You cannot go ahead and take a fixed price deal and then say that I will do agile for you. Correct, Uday? The problem there is that, if I say that, you can always give me the requirement, but I am telling you, I will charge you, whatever 0.4 or 40 lakhs. Arre, tu pehle bol ki what do you want? If you freeze that, then only I will be able to give you a firm price. Correct, Uday?
Correct. This month they'll ask me to fix 10 Wi-Fi. Next month they'll ask me to go ahead with 20 Wi-Fi. It will be different. Yeah.
So it will be evolving. The scope is evolving there, but still, it still makes a sense with that. Even if cost-wise there is a limitation there, it makes a sense because see, user himself is not in a position to freeze his requirement. And remember, it is not because he is lazy or lethargic about it. His requirement, his customer also is changing his requirement every now and then. Correct?
Yes.
So this has become very relevant with time. Yes, Sandeep.
Sir, this agile is it can never be predictive, right? It is always adaptive.
Adaptive is basically a more encompassing word. Software guys call this as agile. Productive is the software guys use it as a SDLC or waterfall. So, Sandeep, I mean, it might confuse you a little bit. So, let me show you a diagram, Sandeep. Two circles. This is called as SDLC or productive. This is called as agile. Now, this is for software guys. Now, what happened? There were other people like my friend Pratik who are not from software. They have their own methodology. There is a caterer. Caterer also does, the projects. Now, what happened for ensuring, Sandeep, this gets covered for this larger thing, they have called this as a, productive life cycle. And for this larger thing, they have called it as a adaptive. You got this point?
Yes.
Adaptive is a more encompassing word too, so that every industry will go ahead and say that I am doing adaptive, which software guys will say that I am doing agile. That's it. Otherwise, it is the thing. So productive and adaptive in that sense are the words there. Good. Now coming to little more theories. And theories are the one which, the examiners love, that, isn't it? Question to question के लिए theories अच्छी होती है. Yes, is that right? Prasad, Rahul?
Yeah, correct.
So what they have done, this agile thing, when it came into a bigger thing, as I told you, if you look at it here, मैं थोड़ा नीचे जाके I will show you one more. This is what I was saying. There is a larger umbrella called as a lean. Lean is basically, saying that you need to go ahead and implement the things with no wastage and something like that. It's an overall methodology which could be done by any industry, reducing the wastage, reducing the overheads, those type of thing is called as lean thing. Under the lean, you have agile. Under the agile, you have multiple methods like Scrum, XP for express programming. FDD is feature driven development. DSDM में है down the line कुछ है. Scrum Ban. Kanban is one which is sitting on the fence. It is part of the lean, but it's not completely in agile. Now, what is Kanban? Kanban has come up from JIT. Yes. Prasad, I'm sure you know now for this.
Just in time?
Just in time. Correct. Exactly. In fact, Prasad, the reason for which I asked you, because this was not invented by the software guys. This was invented by people like us who are in the core industry. Just in time. Okay. Later, software guys went ahead and adopted it. That's called as, so the Kanban is basically, the origin of that is just in time. Let me explain it to you, because Prasad understood this because we are in that business. Just in time, it says that don't go ahead and build a lot of inventories. Go ahead and get the material and everything as you require. Don't try to do a big batch processing material type of thing. I will go ahead and buy all the material required for 3 months. It will, obviously, I will get it cheap. But rather than that, take the material which is required for every day. In fact, the way in which it started was every day. Earlier, we used to have inventory of, 2 months. So if I am going to, grade the spare parts for a tractor, the bolt, the mirror, the seat, the engine, which will come after 2 months, it will become a tractor and rolled out of my factory. Now that was a waste, because maintaining all that material for 2 months, managing it, all that was a nightmare, difficult thing to do. So what, Maruti, first of all, they did, when it was almost, I think, in 1984 or something like that, where, what they did JIT, which means, in the start of the shift, the material required for, assembling whatever, 500 tractors will be brought and delivered onto the assembly line. We'll make 500 tractors, send it there by the end of, by 4 p.m. Around 2 p.m., the material for the second shift will come, and I will keep on delivering. That was JIT. Now, there are advantages of JIT. First thing, that you need not have to do the storage of the material. You need not have to pay the vendor first and get the money much later. You are getting, the moment you take it, deliver it and pass it to the end customer. And that's where, JIT actually came up. Equivalent of that is Kanban. Kanban is basically you are trying to do the things when they are. For example, here in productive, which is not agile, in the productive, you are capturing the requirement which you would be building probably 4 months down the line. In the month of January only, you will ask him the reporting requirement. While reporting, you will actually go ahead and develop somewhere, in the month of May. Kanban, if you want to relate to the software, it means don't do that right now. Do it only for 1 month, whatever you are going, current month you are going to build the transactions and screens related to data entry. Do that. After 2 months, ask, what do you want? He said, these data entry screens are okay. Now I want these reports. So take that. So Kanban is, equivalent of that. Amruta, you had some question?
No.
Okay. So that is this thing. Now, what I was trying to tell you, that 4 values wala slide aaya tha. 4 values. And there is something called 12 principles. What they are trying to say, friends, and this is where I think, who was my friend who was saying that, is this there? So basically, I gave that analogy of, the bigger thing called as a religion, and, the practices under one religion. Who was that? Who was asking that question? I spoke about it. I gave that example, as people who follow Lord Shiva, people who follow Lord Vishnu, they are all doing, anyway, I'm not sure. So basically, lean is that, it's a bigger umbrella. Under that there is Agile, and these are all methods which could be implementing Agile. So now coming back to this slide, 4 values. It says that Agile believes in individuals and interactions rather than processes and tools. Remember good old days, those people who are working for corporate really for a long time, you would have noticed that, earlier days, there was a lot of focus onto the processes and tools. If I want some change to be there, the user comes to me as a software guy and he said that ki, boss, wo mere ko thoda change chahiye. I used to first of all raise a request and get it approved. If it gets approved, I will start working on that. Till then, I am not going to work on that. That was the focus on process and tools. Well, what has happened in Agile? It is individuals and interaction. If he is coming up, at least stop working on what you are developing and do it. So basically, interactions are more important rather than process compliance. Remember, Agile nowhere says that which is on the right side is not important. They are only saying what is there on the left side is more important. So individuals and interaction. If someone is saying that this is how I want it, give more attention to that rather than the people and processes. Sometimes, when we start getting into, if I were to use a word, I would say that, did you notice sometimes we become slave of the plan, which if I were to say in Hindi, I would say that plan के गुलाम बन जाते हैं हम लोग. Have you got this point? Have you noticed what is the problem of getting plan के गुलाम, a slave of a plan?
हाँ साहब, उसको एकदम सिंपल वे में बोलेंगे तो जैसे घोड़े जैसा दौड़ते ही जाना है, ना आगे देखना है, पीछे देखना है, ना बाजू में देखना है।
अब वो वैसे नहीं होगा ना, उसमें प्रॉब्लम्स, देयर आर प्रॉब्लम्स विद दैट. यस संदीप, यू आर सेइंग समथिंग.
No, that's it.
है ना? So that is what they are saying. I mean, by the way, Rahul, they are not saying that processes and tools are not important. They are saying, but इस पे ध्यान रखो यार, this is more important rather than only saying that this is my plan, so I am going to do it this way. They said if there are changes coming up there, it is better to go ahead and compromise on your processes or tools rather than what people are saying. That itself you have ignored. It is a problem. So that's what they are trying to say. Similarly, working software, more the documentation. Huge focus was there on the documentation rather than actual software which is coming in there. They said, by the way, they are not saying documentation is not important. They are saying give more things, saying that something working, some functionality is coming up there. Rather than giving a brilliant design document, give a small module which works. People are able to see it. Give a static website. He is able to see the static website. Pura functionality nahi chalega is good. Rather than giving him a design document which said this is how the brilliant software is going to come up. That's not good. Good is a working software. Customer collaboration rather than contract negotiations. Very common in big corporates. Almost everyone would have experienced this. Sometimes it so happens that, customer want the project to be delivered in 8 months. You calculate it and you realize that it cannot be delivered anywhere less than 10 months. And then huge negotiations start, saying that, can I deliver all that thing? If you reduce this functionality, I should be able to, try it in 9 months, 8 months, to ho hi nahi sakta hai. Those discussions sometimes big corporate end up spending 2 months. And at the end of 2 months, because now if after 2 months you freeze it there, this 8 months requirement has now become 6 months. Or this 10 months के लिए, because 2 months you wasted only in negotiating whether this should be done or not. तो आपके काम के लिए effectively your time span will reduce. Did you notice this happening in companies? Fine details of the contract पे बहुत चर्चा होता है. Yes, Sunil.
Yeah, there are some scenarios where we have broke down into projects into multiple parts, and we have shared timeline as well. And customer again, customer freeze for first requirements. So suppose and after development completed, they are stating that requirement has been changed and you have to deliver this. So should we take that requirement in same phase, or we can consider this requirement as a new project?
As a new project or new phase or whatever. Now, Sunil, they have actually coined this into a bigger thing called as a product backlog and sprint backlog. Okay, Sunil. So, what they say is that, you are freezing it only for one iteration at a time. So during that iteration, he making the changes, chances are very low because it's only 4 weeks. Okay. What you are also hinting, Sunil, is that typically the fixed price, I'm sure you would have heard this word.
Yeah.
Fixed price is something which you cannot do agile with. Is that correct? Why?
Yes.
Why that? Sunil, can you explain?
Because we have defined the scope and we have fixed
Then
price
only you
for
have
that
fixed the
project.
price. Correct. So tomorrow your customer can't come back and say that ki ye bhi chahiye. I mean, if he wants it, how can you go ahead and commit him the fixed price? You cannot, correct?
Correct.
So this combination doesn't work. It has to be in that time and material type of model there, which is where you should do it. Practically, Sunil, in real industry, because time and material pe customer agree nahi karta. Is that right?
Right.
Customers are never happy with this. Now, what they have come up, they say something called as a fixed price, time and material with upper cap. Have you heard this word?
Yeah.
Upper cap.
We have other terminology, time and material and capex, capital
Correct.
expenses.
Correct. That's how they do it. Basically, what they are trying to say is that actual billing, whenever you do, it will be based on the scope what you have delivered there. But overall project wala mere paas rahe. There is a total money I am keeping reserved. That does not mean that Sunil will go ahead and invoice for that amount on day at the end of first month. He will invoice only for that thing which he has delivered in that month. But total thing is known. So basically, it takes care of customers' concern as well as your concern as a service provider. Correct? That's how they come up with this practical model. I mean, these are practical things which are there, isn't it? I mean, you can't ignore that cost concern from the vendor side as well. Correct?
Correct, sir.
Then responding to change versus following the plan. This is what I was saying, getting the slave of the plan ka gulam banna jo hai. That's what I was saying, rather than, first of all, go ahead, make a detailed plan. And now because I have made this plan, I will adhere to this plan is not a right way of doing things. It's that if there are changes required, do that change, rather than saying that, my plan says like that, so I will do it this. You don't do it. It makes no sense there, is what it is saying, responding to the. So these are the 4 values. You might get some, questions there. Is that a good idea to just have a look at some question if it is there? Yes. Yes, friends.
Yes.
इतना क्वेश्चन चलो देखते हैं. तो अजाइल वैल्यू देखते हैं है क्या क्वेश्चन. ओके, यस, इट इज ओनली वन क्वेश्चन हियर. थोड़ा चैट जीपीटी को पूछेंगे. द अजाइल मैनिफेस्टो मेड अप ऑफ 4 values and 12 principles. Which of the is an example of agile value? And you need to select 3. Remember, ये important है. I mean, you need to select 3 of them. So they are saying only one out of these is wrong. ये मेरे स्क्रीन पे अपडेट नहीं हुआ ये. The second screen of mine, question is not still visible.
Yeah, it
What
is
about you
visible for
people?
us.
It is visible for us.
अच्छा, ये मेरा बाजू में रखा है, but it is not. But anyway, good as long as you are able to see this. Yes. Which one is incorrect?
Second.
And one.
Second one.
Following the plan over rework and change, ये नहीं है. Correct. Individuals and interaction over process, ये है. Correct. Working software is there and customer collaboration over the contract negotiation. I think this is correct. So this is right. Those are there. तो राहुल, but ये question दिखा कि मैं तेरा I don't want to set your expectations wrong. इतने सीधे क्वेश्चन नहीं आएंगे. So let's not think about it. Let's ask this to chat GPT guy. Chat GPT वाला तो फेंकेगा एक क्वेश्चन कुछ ना कुछ. Okay. You use this ना chat GPT?
Yeah.
तो S लिख देते questions on agile values. Let's see what does this guy do. Yes, there are. Which of the best represent the first value of Agile Manifesto? Process and tools over the thing, individual interaction, comprehensive documentation, and contract union. All four are right. Is actually saying which of the thing best represents first value.
Individual and interaction over process and
So
tools.
I think B should be the answer here, है ना?
B is
ऐसा
answer.
लगता है मेरे को भी. Even I think so. Okay. Then according to Agile Manifesto, which
I think the third option, can you just go through the third option on the
comprehensive documentation?
Overworking software. I think it was vice versa.
नहीं, I think second one is important, ना? I mean,
No, first one.
anyway, slide पे तो दिखा ही है. Slide पे तो it is clearly saying individuals and
No, can you just
interaction.
go back to the slide?
With the slide.
But I think question is more asking the first value, right?
Correct. All four are right. Question is which one is first there. Now, first one may Smriti, it is not because in this slide it is shown as the first one. Are you
Yeah.
getting Smriti? What they are
Okay.
trying to say out of this thing, which is most important here? And you do realize that, individuals and interaction over. Did you notice Smriti and all other people? Lavanya, did you notice that in the companies, in particular in big corporates, huge importance is given to the processes and tools? Correct?
Yes.
Lavanya, when user comes and he said, कि Lavanya, ये software में fault है. So Lavanya, rather than trying to fix it and understand, he said, Pahila, you go ahead and raise the bug request, and then I will take it. Correct? Isn't that a
Yes.
common? That's what they are saying, and that's why this they say is the first one there. So good. Let's try. इसमें आंसर नहीं दे रहे हैं, अपने को कुछ करना पड़ेगा. Short answer question. Okay. ये पूरा ही दे दिया इसने. This question understand क्या है, नीचे लिखा है क्या आंसर? Critical thinking. What would detail answer? Would you like detail answer or more complex scenario? Okay, detail answer पूछ लेंगे हम लोग इसको. But let's try to solve the second one here. According to Agile, which value is more than following a plan? So he's saying
Responding to a change.
responding to the changes there. Correct. In Agile, what is prioritized over the contract new? अरे ये सब वैसे ही है.
Customer collaboration, I guess.
ये ऐसे आएंगे नहीं. Don't even think. Amruta, don't be very happy
It's
that
Agile
you'll
value.
get questions like that. They are going to be complicated. But nevertheless, it's good to practice. Which Agile value emphasize delivering software or primary? ये same है यार. ये वो 4 slide है तो you can answer all those things. I am not very happy with ChatGPT's output. Agile values over following the. अच्छा ये this is all same actually. True or false questions and short answers. So that's what he's saying. इसमें करता है क्या? I mean, if I copy. Detailed answer पूछू क्या? Does it give? I have not tried this. Let's try.
Thank you,
The
Putta.
detailed answer is for only those 4 questions which are asking the thing. But anyway, this is a limitation known there. You can try as many there. What's the time? It is 5 minutes, 6 minutes past the 11. I think it's a good time to go ahead and take the coffee break. What do you say, people?
Yes, sir. Yes. I was about to ask you.
चाय कॉफी बनती है ना? संदीप जी कहाँ है? Where are you?
Have any minutes, sir? Can we take the break?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah, where are you, Sandeep? Location?
Malaysia, sir.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Malaysia में क्या है? इधर पुणे में अच्छा ठंड है. So I think taking a coffee break makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll take a break for 20 minutes. Is that okay?
Okay.
Let me check what's the time right now so that I will announce the. I am assuming 11:05, 5 minutes past 11. So break till 11:25. Is that okay?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, chalo. Yeah. So catch up at 11:25. I will stop sharing. I will also go on mute. Follow the same thing. Go on mute so that your privacy doesn't get disturbed.
Sure, sir. Thank you.